Hi, I'm Peter Rose, founder of Longwood Currency Trading. I want to talk about a really important topic today, the difference between Forex success and failure. Man, this is just really critical that you understand this. Yeah, it's a little bit of emotion and psychology and all that other kind of stuff, but what do you think runs your trading success or failure? You think it's some friggin' book or something like that? No, it's you. You're responsible for your success or failure. So you need to understand who you are and what conflicting emotions or thoughts that you may have in your trading. I want to read to you two disparate quotes from the literature and discuss those in relationship to this difference between Forex success and failure. The first quote is from Calvin Coolidge. Nothing in the world can take the place of perseverance. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. So doesn't that make a lot of sense that perseverance, if you keep striving at something, then ultimately you'll achieve the success that you desire. Isn't that what we say in trading? You have to practice, 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 and with experience and time that you'll gain the expertise in order to overcome the roadblocks in our trading, whether that's understanding the chart, whether it's understanding the price action on that chart, or if you're using indicators, how you're correlating those indicators or studying the news, or whatever technique it is that you use to trade. You need to practice that over and over and over again and have perseverance, because persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. So it's persistence and perseverance, and it's just sticking to it, right? Yeah, oh, okay. Well, let's take a look at another quote. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Albert Einstein. Well, isn't that interesting? I think everyone would agree to both of those statements by preeminent thinkers of our civilization. And yet, aren't they conflicting? Persistence and perseverance, you keep going it and you're doing it and doing it, and you're trading and you're using your spiral of death system or whatever it is, and you're not getting the success that you need. That's persistence. You're staying with it. And yet here we have a statement from Einstein about, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. How do you resolve the conflict in those two statements? Well, that's really simple, right? Whatever it is that you're doing and you're persistent at, it isn't fucking working. So if you keep doing it, you can't expect different results. Well, what's going on here? I've got almost 500 videos up, and I've been studying the Forex market since 2007. And I'm an educator to boot. I mean, I've been in martial arts for over 55 years, and I've taught pretty consistently for 50 years. So I think I have a basis of education in stuff that's important. People's lives in karate and self-defense are dependent upon me knowing what I'm doing and providing them the right information. And the result of that is the students that come back and say, hey, I had this guy come after me with a knife the other day and boom, boom, I had to put him down. So when we're looking at the solution of a problem, you need to be educated about that problem, and you need to be educated about how you go about solving problems. This is the whole thrust of my Fast Track course, which is based on starting out with what is a problem and how do you go about solving it? Then the next step is, what's the problem in the currency market? Okay, how do you break that problem down into discrete pieces that are what we call encapsulated problems? And then how do you write a rule that's conditional based, and the conditions are sequential based and not just scattered conditions. This is all really sophisticated educational process. And I don't understand why some people think, oh, I'm going to go listen to this guy and he's talking about engulfing candle patterns or Fibonacci's or Bollinger Bands or whatever, and I'm going to do that. And you go ahead and do that and it doesn't work. Excuse me. And you look at the person that's showing this stuff and he's made $1 million or 500,000 or whatever it is. So it must work. This stuff must work. And so you keep doing it, but it doesn't work for you. You have to ask yourself a question. You're being persistent and you have perseverance, but it's not working. So is Einstein then going to take over and say that, well, you can't do the same thing over and over again and expect different results? If you're not getting the results that you need from what you're taught or what you see, then you need to learn something different. When you are looking at the educational space out there, and I'm not pitching my courses, don't fucking contact me about taking a course. I'm not selling courses. I'll teach a few people a year or a month or whatever, but I'm not running a training business. I'm retired. I don't have time to work with people who need to be convinced that there are reasonable solutions to trading. They just want some magic secret sauce. Oh, here's what you do at the entry. All you have to do is when the London Open happens, boom, you do XYZ, or, Golden Cross or whatever it is that you're looking for. That's the secret sauce. I don't have a secret sauce. There is no secret sauce. The secret sauce is learning the right thing and then being persistent about it. And then Einstein's quote is insignificant because you've learned the right thing. So I've just explained to you what the right thing is in learning how to trade. And that's the difference between Forex success and failure, is having the correct information presented in a knowledgeable manner by someone who understands the educational process so that the shit makes sense. And, you get to have somebody teaching you Fibonacci's and it makes great sense and he's all ordered and all this other kind of stuff. Stop the bus. I've got a degree in physics, almost a minor in math. I was a senior software engineer for 33 years doing the solutions for complex internet-based business solutions at an enterprise level. I think I know a little bit about problems and how to solve them, and Fibonacci's have absolutely nothing to do with solving a computer problem or have anything to do with trading. If you have a fib up on your chart, you're wasting your time. So that's going to piss off everybody. Boom, I lost half my watching audience right now. Good. For those of you that remain, are you asking yourself why I am so violently opposed to these indicators? Well, I've done lots of videos. You can go back and you can take a look at them. I'm not pitching you for coursework. I can try to help you in an email. If you email me, hey, I've got this specific problem. I'm having a blah, 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 and you explain it to me. I go, oh, yeah, maybe you ought to try this. I'm willing to do that for no charge. You even want to get on a conference call with me, no charge. We'll chat about it shortly. I'm not going to spend 2 hours like I do with my students on a conference call because that's a course. That's an educational process. But if you're just jammed up with a simple thing, maybe I can unjam you. Like a plumber with a plunger, right? Boom, 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 and then the pipe's free. Sometimes that's all it takes. But most of the time, what I'm seeing out there with the folks that are contacting me and being honest about it, geez, I've tried this, I've tried that, and I've tried this, and nothing seems to work. I'm not having the success. Sometimes I have success, but I'm not consistent. And even though I may be consistent, I'm consistently turning out really low results. Why? Okay, that's a big picture question. It isn't enough that you're persistent, that you learn some secret sauce thing and then you're persistent with it. The idea here is that you have to learn the right process. And that's why what I teach is process-oriented trading. Because a process is something that has a beginning and a bunch of steps that are sequentially aligned so that you don't get jammed up in a matrix of juxtaposition of different things, so that you reach the solution of the problem in a logical manner. And then once you reach the solution of the problem, you execute that solution. Oh, I've gone through for example, I have one rule for entry analysis. And that one rule has 4 conditions. They're sequentially aligned. If this condition is true, I go on. If this condition is true, I go on. If this condition is not true, I'm out. I'm not going to make the trade. All 4 of those rules have to click. It takes about 10 seconds for me to do an entry analysis. And I'm done. Because I have a good rule with sequential conditions. Maybe you don't understand sequential conditions. The alphabet is a sequence. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. If somebody says, recite the alphabet, you're going to do that. You're not going to go A, Z, Y, K, L, P. Somebody says, I need to solve the alphabet. What is your alphabet? A, B, C, D, E, F, G in the U.S. What's a non-sequential ordering of something? I can have, let's say, vegetables on the table. 5 vegetables on the table. And somebody could say, well, how could you consume those vegetables? Or, what would you do if you're going to sit down to eat some vegetables? Well, let's look at just 2 vegetables or 2 conditions. A and B. How many different ways can I arrange A and B? You say, well, A or B, or maybe you want to do it B or A. Well, there's actually 4. With conditions A and B, I can have condition A by itself, I can have B by itself, I can combine A and B together, and I can combine B and A. So I have what's called 4 permutations when I have 2 conditions. So if you have 2 indicators, an RSI and a Bollinger Band or something, you really have 4 different decisions that you can choose from as to how to order the importance of that. Do I look at the Bollinger Band first for the main thing and confluence on the RSI? Or do I look at RSI alone in this situation? Or do I look at you see what I'm saying? So with 2 conditions, you have 4 different permutations. And you guys are out there, many of the people that I talk to, I'm not blaming anybody, but you don't know. You're listening to these guys and they're showing you 3, 4, 5 different indicators. Well, I think at this point, the educational system, there's so many guys that are saying, look at the mess on the screen. We have to get rid of that. But they still have three conditions. Well, if I have 4 permutations to 2 conditions, for 3 conditions, there's 19, I think. If you had 5 things that you were thinking about, if I had 5 non-sequential conditions in my entry rule for trading, for entry analysis, I have a rule and I have 5 conditions, but they're not in sequence. I'd have 325 different permutations I could arrange that in. I'd go fucking crazy. And that's part of the reason why you may not be having the success that you're having, is that you have too much information and you're trying to consider too many different things from too many different points of view. Man, 50% of my training with someone is to get them thinking the correct way. First, you have to know what the problem is that you're trying to solve. Do you know what the problem is you're trying to solve? Oh yeah, I've got this entry. I want to hit bid ask, and I got to know whether it's going up or down. Oh look, I got a 55 period moving average, so I'll go in a long side. Really? Oh well, the RSI is oversold, so I'll go short. Really? I'm doing a golden cross. Really? Maybe that works in a computer simulation where the decision points are together very close. But in real time, no, I don't think so. Not when price is moving 2 or 3 pips at a pop. What's the problem that you're trying to solve? You're just looking at this chart with a bunch of information on it. What's the problem? So you got to learn that first. Once you understand what the problem is, you could say, oh man, that's pretty complicated. The Forex market is the most complex financial trading vehicle for retail traders, bar none. Real estate isn't anywhere near as complex as the Forex market is complex. That doesn't mean that trading is complex. It is if you don't know what you're doing and you have no idea how to order the information that you have. In my videos, I constantly talk about the life cycle of a currency position. And as a software engineer for 33 years, we had a thing called the software development life cycle, the SDLC. And it's a very complex process to apply against really complex problems for their solution. And part of the software development life cycle is to identify clearly the problem that you're trying to solve. Those are called, that constitutes the boundary conditions of the problem you're trying to solve. If I'm trying to put oil into my lawnmower, then the task, the problem, is putting oil into the lawnmower, not changing the tires or messing around with the clutch handle. You have to identify what the unique problem is that you're trying to solve. When you do that, you can break that problem up into easier problems to solve. I want to put oil into the crankcase of my lawnmower. What's the first thing I got to do? I better unscrew the cap over the oil tank. Okay, that's pretty simple. But if you just took somebody who didn't know anything about a lawnmower, they wouldn't even know where the oil crankcase screw cap was. So you identify that. There's a screw cap on the oil case. Unscrew it. That is breaking the complex process of changing oil into simple problems. And you have to arrange those problems in sequential order. You can't pour the oil into the crankcase until you've taken the cap off. If you're writing rules where you don't have sequential conditions, you end up with a matrix of permutations. I'm trying to help you here, so you don't have to pay me a lot of money to take a course. Look, what's the problem you're trying to solve? Second of all, how do you solve a complex problem? Third, once you have the problem, break it into smaller pieces that are solvable, and there's a skill, there's a process in learning how to break a problem up into discrete pieces. And then each piece should have one rule to solve it. And that one rule should have a series of sequential conditions on it so you don't, again, end up in a permutation matrix. And if you can't solve the first problem, then there's no point in going to the second problem. Because if there is, then you have non-sequential problems. You have to have each one of the problems is got to be sequential. Like you can't pour the oil into the crankcase until you take the cap off. There's no way. So you have to create your rules in sequential order, an order that is absolutely inviolate. And then you just take that one problem and you do the same thing with your conditions. Now, how do you learn how to do all that? Well, I don't know. I have yet to run into, and I've been studying the financial markets in general since the mid-1970s. I did real estate for 40 years. That's a pretty complex problem. I retired a millionaire because of my real estate. Did I make mistakes? Yeah, sure I made mistakes. Did I get caught? Sure I got caught. In that 40 years, I lost $1 million net worth twice. But because I understand the process of problem solution, all the rest of the stuff, I was able to make that $1 million back each time. But it took 10 years each time because it's real estate. In trading, if you lose $10,000, it's not going to take you 10 years to get it back. However long it took you to make that 10,000, you've learned you should be able to get that back fairly quickly by not doing the thing that caused you to lose it. Currency trading can be made simple by identifying the problems where you can go wrong. And there's only a few of them. That makes the problem solution of the life cycle of a currency pair, which is my knock against the software development life cycle, because it's this currency position that you're trying to deal with, bid ask to exit. That's what you're looking at, right? So that becomes a very simple process. And that's why I have a lot of blowback. Sometimes I'll get on a video and I'll say, well, it takes me 15 seconds to determine whether I'm going to do a trade that day or not. When I get up in the morning, I come down, I turn on the trading platform, I'm brushing my teeth, I come in, pull the trading platform up, and I can look at it. And in 15 seconds, I know whether I got to sit down right then and make a trade, or whether there's a potential trade that I need to be looking at the chart to have certain conditions manifest themselves so that I could take a trade, or there's no trade there at all. I got 3 choices that I can make, and I put those in sequential order. Is there something I got to do right now? Is there something I could do in the next 15 minutes or an hour? Or is there just nothing to do? If there's nothing to do, I'm going to go have a cup of coffee. What am I going to do? Sit there and look at the chart? If I sit there and look at the chart, you know what I'll end up doing? I'll end up making a trade because I'll create one. I call that an anticipatory trade. Oh, well, price is going to get to here, and so I could make an extra 10 or 15 pips if I got in here. How many times have you tried that? Well, you don't have any rules to prevent you from doing that. That's why you're not maybe as successful as you need to be. So I hope that you understand the difference between Forex success and failure is nothing to do with the persistence of something because you're persisting at the wrong thing, perhaps. You have to identify what the problem is, and then you have to understand how you go about solving that problem. And I've just laid that process out for you. Can you do that on your own? Sure, why not? Give it a try. But if you need help and you want to do that and you don't see anybody else out there doing it because you won't, because they don't have my background, then send me an email. And we can discuss whatever issues it is that you're having, and I can say, well, that's something I might be able to help you with in this email. Or, hey, let's get on a conference call, a video chat, and let's talk about this thing, because maybe you're just not expressing your problem correctly, and we need to decode that, because if the problem is relatively simple, then maybe I can help you with it right then. But if I can't, and I say, man, you got a lot of missing pieces in understanding how trading is actually done, that's all I can tell you, is you need more than a secret sauce. The secret sauce here is there, but it's a lot of sauce, and you're going to have to spend some time cooking it. That means you're going to probably have to take a class or take some consulting classes. You don't want to spend any money doing it? I don't care. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just giving you what you need to do. Go find somebody else. Take their $500 course or their $2,000 course and see how that goes for you. Just make sure that the person who's giving you that information is 2 things. Number 1, they actually know how to teach, that they're an educator and they can present whatever it is that they're going to teach you. They can present that in an educationally sound manner. And number 2 is make sure they're the ones that are teaching you. All of these courses out there, you sign up for some Discord group or membership thing, and you go into Teachable or Udemy or something like that, and here's 15 screens of browser-based stuff and 22 videos that you're going to study. If you've been watching videos and you've been reading books and you're not having the success that you find that you need to have, how do you figure that you're going to do that by watching some online course? Does that make any sense? Can you go to high school? Can you get a high school degree by simply reading the textbooks that are provided in each level of class? No, you need a teacher. So if that person isn't willing to do some consulting with you one-on-one, and not one of his hokies on the guy on the side, is he willing to spend the time? In my world, a mentor is somebody who mentors personally. And that's something that you really need when you're looking for your education. So I'm not trying to sell you on me, okay? I know what I'm doing. I can teach. I'll tell you, you need more than that. I'm not trying to tell you you're an idiot. I'm just telling you need more than what you think you need. You go to the doctor and the doctor says, hey man, you need some medicine for this. You go, oh, I don't think I need any medicine because my mom said I could do it on drinking green tea. Oh, okay. Be very aware of the educational process because that's going to determine your success. Find somebody that you can trust that you're not going to call a scam and do it. But you're probably not going to be able to do it on your own because the only resources you have are talking heads like this on a video. I can't really teach you how to trade in a 20-minute video. I can teach you the steps. I've got 500 videos out there. And so, okay. At this time, I'm end of January of 2025. If you go through all those videos, you'll have all the information that you need that I would present in a course. But it's in a non-sequential order. So you have an infinite. Well, how many permutations are there to 500 videos? It's infinite. It's mind-boggling. So will you be able to learn how to trade by watching my videos? Yes, if you know how to sequentially organize. And that's why I try to make my titles as clear as I can to help you go through the material to solve the problem. As you've identified what the problem is and broken it out into smaller problems, go into the videos that I have and try to take a run at it. And some of you will be able to do that. But on the majority, I can't go to college and get a bachelor's degree in, I can't go to college and take a calculus course without having a teacher there, no matter how good I could read the book. So just look at what the educational process is and understand that the difference between Forex success and failure is going to be totally based on the education that you consume. Peter Rose, Longwood Currency Trading. Have a great day and have a great trading day.